Well, I am here with Robert Ambrose, the park ranger at Fort Frederick in Big Pool, Maryland. And Robert, would you mind telling me what we're doing today?
Well, we are. Hold on. Uh, we're here today to talk about the Civilian Conservation Corps and its role here at Fort Frederick when they helped restore the fort and do much of the work that created the park we know today. Myself, I'm here portraying one of the Maryland Forest Rangers that would have been part of the project. The Fort Frederick was a state park project sponsored by the state of Maryland, the Board of Forestry, who were in charge of parks. And at that point, there really were no parks, which is the beginning of parks in Maryland, as they also worked in conjunction with the National Park Service. So I'm one of the Maryland Rangers that would have been here, and there was actually a resident ranger that lived on site before the Cs were here, but there was a group of forest rangers who helped oversee this project and other parts of the projects that they did. So a forest ranger like myself would have done some enforcement aspects, first aid, would have also been, kind of the grounds crew here doing different things. But one of their biggest roles was wildland firefighting. And the Forest Service today in Maryland is still the primary wildland firefighting service in Maryland. And they've been doing it for over 120 years. So what's one of our big roles. So today we got in here, you'll see some forest firefighting tools. And I've been doing an activity with the kids today where they get to use the what's known as an Indian can, which is a backpack worn metal water reservoir with a hose that you can put out fires. So that's going to be part of what I do today. And then just generally talking about the park, its history, and what a ranger does and then did in the 1930s. So as you go around the room, you're going to see a lot of the trappings of kind of what a 30s forest ranger office would look like, some of the things they would have had around. Also, the forest firefighting tools. You will see a display on early park rangers and a uniform coat worn by one of the early rangers here at the park.
So this is the fire can, Robert?
Yes. It is the Smith Indian fire pump. Basically, it holds about 5 or 8 gallons of water, and it has a little pump sprayer, and you pump it and it'll shoot out a spray of water to help put out small fires. And basically in the 30s, one of the only ways to really get water to a fire in the interior. But some of the other items that we have, show you the different things that could be used to help, and are some and all still in use today. You have the fire rake, which is literally used for cutting the turf to try to create a fire line to keep fire from spreading. We have two of my favorite items because they're so funny in a way, but very useful. A fire broom, and this is literally for basically trying to put out a grass fire with the broom. You can sweep it, you can beat it, and these are fire retardant brush bristles. And so they would be used for that. Again, small grass fires, things of that nature, trying to keep things from rekindling. The fire swatter that you would literally take and swat a ground fire with and try to put it out that way, which I think is kind of fun. We've got the ubiquitous, shovel. This is a U.S. Forest Service shovel. So, the shovel is going to be used a lot just for digging stuff up and just trying to create that fire line, because a lot of times, particularly in the early days of forest fighting, you probably weren't going to get the fire out where it was, so you would try to stop it from spreading. I got the bill hook here that you use for cutting small brush and trying to knock it down. This is from probably the 1930s, which is pretty cool, and it's been in the forestry cache for a long time, which is kind of neat. And again, still something that's used today. You have again, another kind of like a rogue hoe here at the rakes to help again, you're just trying to create fire line. And so what you want to do is you want to create bare earth between the fire and what's not burned. So the fire can't jump, or hopefully not jump, that dirt line. So it's a lot of hand work. And to this day, forest firefighting is a lot of handwork. Yes, there's helicopters involved. Yes, there's bigger equipment, but most of the work is still done with these very tools that we see here, with maybe the help of a chainsaw. Got my little axe and here, grub hoe for different things. So again, the firefighting tools haven't changed much in over 100 years. They're still doing the job they always did. And then the last thing is, which is really very only useful for short term, the canvas bucket. Literally fill it up, throw it on something, fill it up, dump it because it leaks. It's not meant to hold water long term. But these were, and you can, I think, see it in this picture here. You can see some of the tools in the 1930s. Fire vehicle for the Forest Service. There's your Indian can, and he's got some other tools. There's another version somewhere that has, you can see one of these attached to it. So they would have had ready-made firefighting vehicles back then as well.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
So let's say we had a fire down the road, somehow it gets spurred up. Like, how many men would be sent there from this camp? Would they send everybody or a squad?
If the Seas were involved, they probably are going to send the majority of the guys to do that job. Again, they're going to be overseen by the forest rangers, who are going to be your primary folks, but there's not that many of them. But I would say, of the 200 guys that are in the camp, I would say at least half, if not more, are going to go. Again, also depending on the size of the fire and the resources needed.
All right. Well, I learned a lot about firefighting from you today. And I guess one more quick question. Water is a heavy item, and I'm zeroing in on your can. So that has to weigh a good 20 or 30 pounds with all that.
Yeah, maybe later we can go out and you can pick one up and tell your viewers how heavy it is and show them how it works.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Yep.